The sheep brain is enclosed in a tough outer covering called the dura mater, and this surrounds and supports the dural sinuses and carries blood from the brain to the heart. So we're just going to start off by removing this. This white outer membrane just peels away, and now the brain is exposed. This portion here is the largest part of the brain, known as the cerebrum. It's associated with thought and action. This portion is also made up of gray and white matter. These grooves here are called the sulci, and then the bumps are called the gyri, and the folding of these increases the amount of cerebral cortex that can fit in the skull. This line down the middle that separates the two hemispheres is called the longitudinal fissure. Here we have the spinal cord, which transmits neural signals between the brain and the body reflexes. Then we have the medulla oblongata, which controls swallowing, breathing, and blood pressure. And then behind that are the pons, which helps with sleep, respiration, and hearing. The X-formed here is the optic chiasma, and this deals with sight. Here we can see that solid white portion is the optic nerve, which controls sight. These two flaps here are the olfactory bulbs, and the function of these is to help us smell. Here is the frontal lobe, which controls movement, emotions, and reasoning. This is the parietal lobe, which this controls movement, orientation, and recognition. And also the left and the right hemispheres. The right hemisphere controls creativity, and the left hemisphere controls language and logical reasoning. Here is the temporal lobe, which controls auditory, memory, and speech. And then back here is the occipital lobe, which controls visual processing. Altogether, these four lobes create the cerebral cortex. Now we are going to make a mid-sagittal cut down the center of the membrane, right through the longitudinal fissure, which separates the left and right hemispheres. Right here is the cerebellum, which controls balance and coordination. It's very tree-like. This white portion here, this is the corpus callosum, which just connects the two hemispheres together. Right here is the lateral ventricle, which cushions the brain and helps circulate nutrients and remove waste. Right here is the third ventricle, which sends and receives messages from the lateral ventricles. And here is the fourth ventricle, which protects the brain from trauma. This bulb right here is the pineal gland, which produces hormone melatonin at night. And then right here is the thalamus, which controls sensation and emotion. And then below it is the hypothalamus, which controls heart rate, blood pressure, and body temperature.